The Inspiring Insights show is recorded on stolen land. This land is the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Huron-Wendat, the Anishinaabeg, and the Haudenosaunee. The land we live on was settled in an unjust way, and that continues to cause harm. We at Reawaken Co. commit our actions toward decolonization of this territory and Turtle Island as we as a company grow. Our host Erin has enjoyed certain privileges from this white capitalist society and is working from their own social location to honor the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada, especially the calls to action numbers 18 to 24. To learn more, you can click the Learning and Continuing Education link in our Instagram bio at reawaken_co. Hello, all of you fantastic people. Thank you so much for joining us here on episode 27. 27, folks, 27, wow, of Inspiring Insights. Happy to have you here. I'm your host, Erin. I recently changed my pronouns to they and them, so thank you for understanding that. And I'm really in the business of amplification. What does that mean? I think to me, that means, every day when I wake up, what really gets me going, what really keeps me alive, what makes me reawaken to my own sense of self and my own powers. And, answering that question over this pandemic every day has been very challenging and very tough. And it kind of brought me to this space of being like, okay, what can I offer to the world? And what can I see myself doing for a very long time in my future? And yeah, so that kind of all culminated into Reawaken Co., which is the company that I founded last year, helping folks walk through the wellness, a holistic wellness world in good company with good practitioners that they know, like, and trust, which is so important for establishing your own healing ability, So with this podcast, Inspiring Insights, what we do is we interview amazing folks doing incredible work on their end. Sometimes they're naturopathic doctors, sometimes they're chiropractors, sometimes they're massage therapists. Shaquelle Hibbert here is a personal trainer. And I'm sure she we'll learn more about the difference between, she's a kinesiologist, the difference between a personal trainer and a kinesiologist. I should know that. I literally studied kinesiology for undergrad. Oh, forgive me. So yeah, we are here. We're doing episode 27. For folks who don't know, you can go ahead and follow us on Reawaken Co, just Reawaken_Co on Instagram, or go ahead on our YouTube channel and subscribe to us. We always love a subscribe. And we're an online education platform as well. So what we want to do here today, just before we start, considering what has happened last night in Atlanta, I just want to, have a little breath, take a little moment to acknowledge the 8 Asian Americans that were murdered last night. It's this world is flipping crazy right now. And as much as we can, we need to be able to acknowledge where we're at in our own lives and in our own journeys of self-development and learning more about unlearning racism as much as possible. And not only did the Black Lives Matter movement really just come and flourish and was seen so much in 2020 because people were pausing, but also racism against Asians was tremendously increased because of, maybe because of the likely origin of COVID-19. I'm not sure, but it's a lot going on right now, and we really need to raise up and stand with our Asian community, sisters and brothers and folks that are there. So thank you for taking that time to do that. And okay, here we are settling in. Today, I want to bring a very special guest into the spotlight. We are featuring tonight for episode 27, Shaquelle Hibbert. Shaquelle is a kinesiologist with a degree from the University of Manitoba, and she holds certifications as a personal trainer and group fitness instructor. She's currently a clinical exercise physiologist candidate working towards helping more people with chronic illnesses. Shaquelle has been providing personal training and health and wellness related services for a few years now and is focusing on helping people who have a type 2 diabetes diagnosis or pre-diabetes diagnosis to help manage blood sugars and other effects of their condition, through healthy lifestyle changes and exercise programming. Shaquelle has lived through a diagnosis of prediabetes herself and has been able to lose over 50 pounds and keep it off while leveling out her blood sugars. Shaquelle has found the best way to start and maintain a healthy lifestyle includes changing only one unhealthy habit at a time. Yes. It takes years of lifestyle choices to receive a diagnosis, so it will take time to create a healthier lifestyle. Wow, Shaquelle, welcome. I love your bio. That's amazing.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here and so excited for this conversation, you guys. Like, grab some coffee, grab some tea, and get ready. Put your feet up. Like, this is a good one.
Yeah, put your feet up, put them down. Who knows? Whatever keeps you grounded, because we're getting spicy here tonight, I think.
Oh yeah, that's the goal.
So we're chatting, and I love, Shaquelle, I love your energy, and I love that you're so on board for chatting about what we're going to talk about, because you know, the unattainable body, which is so, oh, it's like so fiercely determined by media, and the things that we watch and the things that we do and the clothes that we wear these days. And, you know, I just want to put it out there that, you know, the gym is really not the place for a lot of folks, you know, and even prescribed movement may or may not be the best approach for a lot of folks. So I'm happy to have you here. Shaquelle, can you tell us a little bit more about your own journey, maybe how you ended up in kinesiology, how you ended up in this field, and all of that?
Yes, absolutely. And this is actually a very interesting time to have this conversation, as I am actually going into a shift with my business that I haven't really mentioned yet. So,
Ooh.
yes. So, to start at the very beginning, I struggled with diets, and I mean, I was a chubby kid. Not gonna lie, I loved the snacks, and so at a young age, I went into feeling like I had to lose weight because I looked different from all of my cousins and who are in smaller bodies, and all of my classmates who were in smaller bodies, and I was always standing out in that way. So I immediately, I'd say age 11, started going on diets. So eating only salads and then getting sick of it and going back to my normal eating. And it got pretty serious because I was surrounded by grandparents who all had type 2 diabetes. And, you know, they started adding in more vegetables with their diagnosis, but that's about it. We still ate KFC and Burger King quite often. And physical activity wasn't really a thing in my family. We liked board games, and that's what we did, and that was our way to stay connected. So we never really had that outlet for energy expenditure either. So I grew up with that lifestyle, and as I grew older, I struggled off and on with diets, and also watched my grandparents get sicker because of their type 2 diabetes diagnosis. And so they went through, you know, kidney failure, amputations, edema in the legs, loss of eyesight, pretty much any side effect you can think of. Probably someone in my family has had it, and I've seen it. And at the age of 18, I was diagnosed with prediabetes because, of course, I was going on that same path. And I mean, if we're being honest, going off and on diets probably played a big role in that. So 18, got this diagnosis, and I said, no, there's no way I'm going down this path. I see what my grandparents are going through, and I'm only 18. I do not want to live that way. I don't like pricking my fingers. That is not what's going to happen here. So at this point, I actually went to Quebec for a trip just to learn French, and I ended up losing 10 pounds there. And it wasn't on purpose. It was only because I didn't have a vehicle and I had to walk everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, you know, Quebec, you know, they have their hills and mountains out there. So
Yeah.
I had to climb. So I lost 10 pounds, and I was like, okay, So I've lost and gained this 10 pounds at least 20 times. Let's just try to keep it off. So what I did is I cut out chips, and that was it. And then I started to lose more weight. Then I started to cut out pop and started to lose more. Then I started to add in vegetables and start to balance things out. I started working out. But the key thing was, I've done all these things before, but I did it when I felt like I was ready to take it on for a long-term kind of situation. And so over months and years, I just started adding on different habits. And even to this day, I'm still adding on different habits and working on things. And I lost 50 pounds and I've kept it off for years. I mean, there's always fluctuation and that's okay, but I've never gained back everything and more, which is usually what happens after doing some type of diet.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were to give someone advice, if they're looking at this type of lifestyle change, which I do in my company, I would say instead of completely cutting out those chips or pop, find something to replace it. So if you like to sit on the couch and watch Netflix and have snacks, you still can. You don't have to cut it out completely. So that's the only difference I would say I would go about it now. But it's been really successful, and lots of my clients have seen a lot of success with that. And so I went into kinesiology while I was going through my weight loss journey, and like I tried all the things. I tried keto and everything while I did the lifestyle change. So I was still playing around, still kind of in diet culture. That's a key thing to remember for later. So I was still very much immersed in diet culture. And after becoming a certified personal trainer and certified group fitness instructor and working in the field, I noticed a lot of people were going through the same thing. They were scared of health concerns. They wanted to simply lose weight and feel better in their body. And they did all the diets under the sun, but kept gaining the weight back. And I noticed that when people were on those diets, they were more frustrated and not as open as usual. And I wanted to make a change in that way. And I specifically wanted to make a change for people that have type 2 diabetes or were at risk for it, because one, I've seen my own family go through that. And two, it's so common right now. Type 2 diabetes is one of the leading causes of mortality, and it needs to be talked about more. And after doing just a little bit of research, even just in my own area about the diabetes clinics and things like that out there, they give out a lot of information about type 2 diabetes and type 1, which I don't personally work with. But there's no place that actually helps with actionable steps to deal with type 2 diabetes or a pre-diabetes diagnosis. And that makes a huge difference. There's personal trainers that work with weight loss. And then there's people that do diabetes, like give you all the resources, but there's no connection there. And so that's where I was like, okay, I want to make a difference. And that's where I call myself a kinesiologist. That's why I'm going through the certified exercise physiologist courses, because there's a disconnect from the medical field and personal trainers. And that's essentially what a kinesiologist is. And that's how I explain it even on my website. It's just that I went through kinesiology at the University of Manitoba, got to be a certified personal trainer. That's actually the first step to becoming a certified exercise physiologist. But now I'm just taking it a step further, because as a certified personal trainer, I can work with people that have type 2 diabetes and other chronic illnesses only if they have it managed. As a clinical exercise physiologist, I can work with people that are just being diagnosed or don't have their medications up to par yet, and help them create healthy lifestyle changes. So maybe they wouldn't even need to go on medications, or they can reduce it, or even get off of it completely in the long term. So that's where KinActivity came from. That's where it was created. And so I've been doing this since August 2020. And I love it. I love the space, but I found a shift in myself. So digging even deeper into this field, I found in myself and with my clients that, okay, I've helped you lose weight. Now what? We still don't feel comfortable in our bodies. So right now, I'm actually working on a shift in KinActivity where I focus on health at every size and more body positivity. So that's where I'm taking KinActivity. This is the first place I'm announcing it. So yay!
Woo!
Super excited for that, because I've seen so many things wrong with health at every size, and we'll talk about that today, I'm sure.
Yes.
But I found after losing 50 pounds and keeping it off, all is good. If I didn't have that self-love and I didn't do that work, I'm still going to feel uncomfortable in my body. Like, yes, physically and physiologically, I'm healthy. That's great. But mentally, emotionally, I'm still feeling all the effects of when I was submerged in diet culture. So I'm working on really pushing anti-dieting, really pushing body positivity and accepting the body you're in while you make it healthier. So that's where we're at right now.
Oh, Shaquelle, yes, yes, yes. I'm like blowing up over here, like as you speak, just like, yes, this is awesome. Like, even, oh my goodness, like, thank you so much for sharing all of that. And yeah, I can speak to your point on from like a kinesiology perspective, because that's the road the road that I took as well. Like, I did kin, and then I did certified exercise physiologist through CSEP. And then I was like, there's still so much more that's happening here, and we're not getting to the root of the issue. And, I don't disagree that personal trainers and kinesiologists can help folks tremendously. And I really value that, but there's such a disconnect, right? And there's a disconnect not only between the medical field and allied health professionals, but there's also a disconnect between people's bodies and their minds.
Yes.
And so what you just spoke of at health at every size, it's beautiful for you to recognize that at this stage in the game. And for you, you've actually had this experience. So I so appreciate that, because we need more people like you in this field.
Oh yeah.
Woo! Woo! Oh my goodness. It's incredible. And I'm actually in a couple months doing a panel on health at every size. So everyone who's watching this, I think you should all stay tuned, because I think I would love, Shaquelle, you to come back for that.
I would love to, yes.
Excellent. Yeah. So, oh my goodness, you just spoke so many truths. I don't even know where to begin. But so, I mean, we could talk about type 2 and pre-diabetes and all of that. But I think you mentioned a few other things I'm really interested in. And as you spoke, a quote came to mind in terms of like diet culture. And I've just actually finished the book by Sonia Renee Taylor, The Body's Not an Apology. So good. Highly recommend. Oh my goodness. And she was speaking of a quote from Naomi Wolf, who's the author of The Beauty Myth. And I just want to read you this quote, read everyone's quote. It's phenomenal. A culture fixated on female fitness is not an obsession about female beauty, but an obsession about female obedience. Dieting is the most potent political sedative in history. A quietly mad population is a tractable one.
Wow.
Like, so much of what you just spoke, was in that. There's so much that we tell folks, particularly female-bodied folks, about how to live their life, about how skinny they should be, about how fat they should be, what they should eat, what they shouldn't eat, what they should consume on Netflix. It's not just about consuming off their plate. And so there's so much in that. Tell me your thoughts on the diet culture, the diet industry in general. I'm curious.
Okay, we're gonna juice it.
Let's do it.
Okay, diet culture. Oh, my enemy as long as I can remember. So first of all, we'll just speak on the fact that the beauty standard in diet culture is very small-bodied, Caucasian, straight women.
Yeah.
Now, this is unattainable for many, many people, and especially for people of color. And that's a whole other topic we will dive into later. But so it's just that one picture, the model, supermodels and all that fun stuff. It's unhealthy. A lot of people that were in magazines back in the day, they were struggling dearly with eating disorders or disordered eating in general.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, some way, we deem that as healthy. Seeing our bones through the camera was seen as cool and sexy and what we all want to look like. So now here we have every woman in the world trying to look like a Caucasian, 6 foot tall, usually blonde woman. And it just disregarded all and every type of diversity there is. Like, there's so many levels there, I don't even know if I can unpack it all. And so that's one starting point. And then over the years, we started to include more people of color a bit. We started to, first of all, include people that had brown hair. So brunettes were involved. And then then we started to add maybe lighter skinned women. And it actually took a very, very long time. And it's still very far in between where we see beautiful, dark skinned Black women represented in all of their beauty. So that's one side of things. There's the race. And then body diversity. So again, going back to that original picture, what healthy looked like was that unattainable body. And it didn't take into account that everywhere you look around the world, we have different bodies, completely different shapes, different bone structure. And it would literally be impossible for people to look like that. And it just set women up for failure in themselves. So body acceptance, self-acceptance was not even possible when that's all you're seeing on the media. Mm-hmm. And then people would try. They wouldn't accept the fact that their body would never look like that. So then now we have our lovely diet companies coming out with the slim shakes and drops and pills and all that fun stuff to consumerize us all as women, and then getting to the teenage girls and getting younger and targeting younger girls and getting them into diets at younger ages. So now they have from people from like 6 years old to 99 years old on their slim drops, still trying to fit this one image of what a healthy body looks like. And no, it's not
okay. It's not okay. Like as you were speaking, I'm like, okay, thinking like this like beach body girl, you know, like Baywatch, blonde, long hair, cis, normative, you know, all that. And then then you're like brunettes, and I'm like, oh, I automatically went to Jennifer Aniston, like on that Dasani commercial, like drinking a glass of water. And I'm like, oh my God, like women can only have water and only be Jennifer Aniston. Like,
exactly.
Oh, I can't. Like,
please tell me how someone that looks like me will get to that place.
Right. And so you, as like a young adult, like in your teens, were seeing that and saying like to yourself, literally unconsciously, oh, because I don't look like her, I will literally never get there. That's already a glass ceiling. You know, you can't even go anywhere above that. So, that's like so tough for, you know, I'm white, so I can't even like imagine. I don't have that experience. And thank you for sharing your own experience. And, you know, it's too often that folks in the Black community are also used as like educators. And so for you to just share that was very helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm here for it.
Oh yeah. Let's chat a little bit about your clients in particular. Maybe like if someone wants to work with you, how can they go about not getting in touch with you? We'll talk about that later, but you know, what can they expect kind of like the first few weeks onboarding?
Yes. Okay. So right now, again, I'm in that shift. So it's kind of the same. So I always start with awareness. And so the first few weeks usually is just like becoming more aware of your habits when you're actually feeling hungry, when you actually eat. You know, is it emotional, mental? Are you physically feeling hungry? When you do eat, are you paying attention? How full are you? When do you stop? When do you go for more? Are you enjoying what you're eating? And So I go into deep, deep detail into the nutrition side of things and in exercise. When do you fit in exercise? When do you feel guilty for not exercising? Who are you following on Instagram that makes you feel bad about taking a
Yes.
rest day? And so it's all about awareness. That's the first thing you could expect. And so that's what my old program looked like. And that is still what my new program will look like once it's running up. And it'll just have more of a shift on body image and body acceptance. Who you're following that makes you feel uncomfortable in your own body. Who are you following that makes you feel like you have to reach for that Jennifer Aniston look?
Yeah.
And who are you following that's telling you to only eat broccoli, rice, and chicken? I'll always use that as an example.
Oh my goodness, right? I'm glad you actually brought that up too, because like even in clinical nutrition, like I'm thinking back to my naturopathic medicine curriculum, like when I was in school and we're learning about all these diets and folks, our teachers would encourage us to, try the diets to see what they're like. And in the same breath, like occasionally, sometimes talk about the fact that like we're mostly all white and we're all trying these diets that are also like really kind of whitewashed. It's like this is not something that like somebody from India would ever eat, or like
Yes.
somebody, from the Caribbean. And so it's almost like, yeah, again, this like unattainableness, like this sense of like, oh, if I don't eat chicken, rice, and broccoli, then like I'm not going to get there. But meanwhile, this is like not at all my style of food. It's not even what my body can maybe digest properly.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a huge disconnect in the diet field and nutrition field right now, because I actually took a few nutrition courses and I noticed this. We talked a bit about diversity, but really we came back to the normal vegetables that are seen more in like North America. And I mean, if I'm being honest, when I went through my 60-pound weight loss, I did not switch over to new foods. I still eat my Caribbean food. And that's
Nice.
another thing I really resonate with my clients with. Working with people of color, they want to eat what they grew up with.
Yeah.
And some of my clients are actually surprised. They're like, you mean I can actually eat my favorite cultural meal right now? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And so that's something that nutritionists and dietitians should definitely look at, is making sure you're keeping the space inclusive of all different types of food. And if you're not sure, get them to do a food diary. And if you're not sure what the foods are, look into it or have an honest conversation. Don't just push broccoli and Brussels. I've never tried Brussels sprouts in my life. Like that is not even in my range of vegetables. I've never even seen one in person. Don't tell me to eat that,
I love that. Yeah, like I don't even know what an artichoke looks like. So
exactly. So I think that's a huge disconnect that needs to be addressed too in diet culture.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Shaquelle. That's brilliant. I just thought about artichokes because I I was raised in Newfoundland, and this is when I was living in the capital city, folks, like St. John's, the biggest city in Newfoundland. And I go to the grocery store and I'm like, "Where are your artichokes?" I couldn't find them. I had to ask an employee, and he's like, "What are artichokes?" And he had no idea. And I'm like, "Okay, well then I guess you guys don't carry them." Oh my goodness. Yeah. But to speak on your mindfulness and your awareness perspective, that's so key. And I think a lot of folks actually in our industry don't do that, right? And I think we're almost playing into like, yes, the industry kind of made it that way, and there's some sense like when a client comes to you that they want that, but it's because they don't know any other way.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to buy new sneakers. I'm going to get new sneakers for Christmas. And then I'm going to sign up for the membership like in January, And that's like the main thing. Meanwhile, yeah, like you said, they're like folks aren't changing their mindset and their habits around just even like acknowledging that, oh, okay, it's 9 a.m. Like I'm really craving a muffin right now. Or it's 9 a.m. I'm having a smoke. And so with the smoke, I also drink my coffee, and that coffee has like cream and milk or whatever, it's like all these other things that we don't even think about that they just go together because they're part of our habits. So mindfulness can play a huge role in that, huge role.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you just said there, like even with signing up with the gym, you don't have to do that. Some
Yeah.
people just like to join recreational sports, go play some soccer with the friends, go for a walk with your dog, go for a jog, go for a hike. You don't have to go to the gym. And
Yeah.
that's another huge misconception in the health field. It's another nice money grab. I mean, personally, I do like going to the gym, but I've worked with many people that are like, there is no way I'm stepping foot in there unless you are with me as the trainer 110% of the time.
Yes. This is kind of off topic, Shaquelle, but I want to ask you, like, oh, I hear your puppy in the background.
Yes.
Hey, puppers. I wanted to ask you, like, what do you find people's mindsets are easy or really hard to change? You know, what are their like kind of like when they come to you at the beginning, maybe in the first couple weeks when they're doing that awareness work, is it fairly malleable that they're ready for change right away when we talk about, you know, the changes of behavior? Where are they in that, and how easily accepted are your, you know, suggestions?
Okay, that's a very good question. So my clients, I do a consultation, and by the end of it, I want to make sure they understand that this is not your typical training program.
Hmm.
And so by the end of that, they're at like stage 5, ready to go, ready to sign up, actionable. And
Nice.
so that's that. But then we get into it, and we have our first session, and they're kind of like, okay, where's the meal plan? Where's the workout plan? Why? What are we doing? I don't get it. Is this enough?
Yeah.
Like they're not being thrown into a big program where all of a sudden you get all of these resources and things, and then I just say go. It's completely different. You start off by analyzing what you have in your house right now. I'm not going to tell you to go grocery shopping. I've had people ask like, okay, so what do I go do now? Like, what do I eat? Like, you eat exactly how you ate yesterday. Just do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, you ate like this for years. It's not going to change another week, honey. You're good. Just
Yeah.
eat what you like. So it's like so many people have that diet mentality that when they come through my program, they're like, wait, what's happening? And we have to take a step back, and maybe their stage of readiness actually was at like a 3 out of 5 or even a 2 out of 5 in that sense, because they were kind of expecting, all the resources right now, lose 10 pounds right now. And I'm like, no, it's not what we're doing.
Yes.
I want you to be healthy forever. Like, I am not trying to sell you over and over and over again so you can come back and see results and fall off. I want you to be so successful. Just buy. Like, we won't even coach anymore when we're done.
Yeah, like it's just ingrained, right? It's like
Exactly.
already habit, which I love, and they must be taken aback by that. But I can imagine
Yes.
also that, you know, as you go through that with folks, they tend to really celebrate the small wins at that point, because, you know, it's like
Yes.
it's just the one thing, like you said, it's like, oh, I didn't drink pop today. And that's like
Hmm.
huge for someone who's been drinking pop for like 31 years, you know?
Exactly. That actually brings me to one of my clients. Oh, love her. So one of my old clients, she used to go to, where is it? McDonald's, no, Tim's, one of the two. I think it was Tim Hortons. Every morning, get an extra large French vanilla. And that was her thing every morning. And that was a habit that she wanted to change. And we found that out through awareness.
Mm.
So what we did is we found something to make at home that tasted like French vanilla. After like 30 years of drinking it every day, guess what? She made her own. If we're looking at calories, she did cut like 100, maybe even 1,000 calories off of every morning from doing that simple thing, all starting from awareness.
Wow.
So yeah, like, people shouldn't discount that.
No, it's too simple, right? That's why they
Mhm.
discount it. It's too simple. It's way too
Exactly.
easy.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
people definitely, sorry, people
oh,
definitely think that you have to, go to Popeye supplements and buy all the protein powders and all that fun stuff to get started, right? No,
yeah.
use what's in your kitchen.
Mhm.
Make
Mhm.
it work.
Oh my goodness, so often I get texts from my friends being like, "I'm at the vitamin store," and they send me a picture. They just send me a picture of like the whole shelf, the whole rack, and they're like, "What should I get?" And I'm like, Okay, one, I don't know you like that. Two, I need
Oh,
to talk to you more
mhm.
before I
Yes,
even educate you on anything.
yes,
And
absolutely.
three, maybe these aren't right for right now. Like you probably
Hmm.
don't need them at this point.
Exactly. It's not where we start. You can definitely use it along the lines once you got the basics down. That's another misconception I find, that people are like, I need to get all these products right now. Like, no, let's just start with real food, and then we'll
Yeah.
go on from there.
Yeah.
And
Fundamentals.
yeah.
Fundamentals, right?
Hmm.
I love that. So, okay. I want to touch back on something, circle back because I love this and we're talking about the unattainable body here. So why not?
Hmm.
Let's talk about health at every size and really, how we can become better as exercise practitioners in this space and maybe even just wellness practitioners in general. And folks who are listening to this, hopefully you send it to your practitioners and be like, hey, watch this episode. This is really good.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about body acceptance, really how we can destroy some barriers in the
Mhm.
health field around body acceptance.
Yes. Okay. So one thing that I've seen lately that's actually been really, really good, and sorry, you probably hear my puppy crying in the back there, um, is that people have been doing pictures with, like, what is it, Instagram versus reality. And
Yes.
so that is what we need to see more of. You, instead of showing, yourself right at 6 a.m. when you haven't drank anything and went to the bathroom and the abs are peeking through and you look for the right spot to hit for your sunlight, take a picture, take videos at all times of day. So your weight fluctuates throughout the day, and that is totally fine. Let's normalize it. Let's talk about it and accept that that's happening, and let your clients know that too. Um, and so I think that's a really, really good start that we're at here for health professionals. So, there are a lot of smaller bodied people in the personal training field specifically. And that's fine. A lot of people have went through their health journeys already. What I'd like to see is, I guess, more talk about not just the physical changes with their clients. Those before and after pictures, I've done them myself. It's nice to see those physical results, but I want to see how their mindset changes, and what have they changed in their lifestyle, and how are they actually feeling, or how's their confidence. I want us to talk more about that. So not just the before and after pictures. I've seen pages on Instagram where literally the whole company is just like before and after pictures. And I'm like, okay, but then now you're saying that the only way to be healthy is at this smaller size. And that's not cool. So that's one thing.
Mm,
And then what I'd like to see is for people in larger bodies that are in the fitness community to be shared more.
yes.
I want to see people actually sharing the posts and talking about it more. Just because you're in a smaller body doesn't mean you can't talk about health at every size. Right? And so
Hmm.
I feel like if these health professionals that do look like Jennifer Aniston or are in smaller bodies can uplift these other upcoming fitness people, because they've had their time in the fitness industry. We trust you. Everyone knows you. They want to work with you. Now let's help out your other personal trainers. We're a team here. We're all working for the same thing. It's not a competition. Let's share people in bigger bodies and share their experiences and share that they are legitimate health professionals and they are valid. So that's another way to get it to be more normalized and accepted within the field. And I think a big problem with that is because there are a lot of, like, personal trainers themselves that are scared of being in a bigger body. And I've seen this with my own two eyes.
Mm.
And that's another thing. So personal trainers and other health professionals, I want everyone to just dig into themselves and look at their own self-awareness and their own mindfulness. What's going on inside? Are you looking in the mirror like, oh, I have a little bit of a fupa today? It's fine. And having that mindset with yourself, it still shines through in your company. So
Hmm.
working on that mindset work will not only help you, but it'll help your clients even better on a deeper level, so we can all start accepting each other and then stop judging others. So
Yeah. And yeah, let's like really dismantle that specific barrier of judgment, because
Mhm.
I mean, all too often in the exercise world, in the health world, it's a judgment, right? You take a
Mhm.
baseline when you first meet the client or patient, and
Mhm.
then at, the appropriate benchmarks, you take another measurements, or you take another whatever it is. You
Mhm.
do blood work, you might do like literal measurements, you might gain weight, or sorry, you might like do the scale.
Mhm.
Um, so there's so much in that, how can we, I guess, take the morals out of being like bigger or being smaller or being healthy or whatever. It's like I know so many of my friends who say, "Oh, I ate bad tonight because I had a bag of chips." And it's like, "No, you ate a bag of chips. That's
Yeah,
it. Like full
exactly.
stop."
Yes.
Like the fact is that you had a bag of chips. There's no like
Mhm.
badness about it. There's no goodness about it. It's just that's just like so the morality of working out and like all of that is like you don't need to put that on you. And
Mhm.
that's a huge judgment in itself. Yeah, I can rant about this for hours. I'm curious, Shaquelle, um, kind of changing gears maybe a little bit from just the health at every size movement and now to more of the just seeing like the whole lack of representation of Black folks in the wellness field.
Mhm.
Like, let's be blunt, let's say it straight. There are hardly any Black naturopaths that I know that graduated from my school. I know two. I literally know two.
Mhm. Yeah.
And like in the exercise industry, I know one person that graduated with me who was Black, and he was from Jamaica, like straight out of Jamaica, just came to school, and he's probably there back in Jamaica now. I don't know. But like, yeah, for someone to be, to even feel called to go into this field, what is that like for you if you are feel comfortable talking about that?
Absolutely. I touched on this on another podcast and I love talking about it. So let's take it all the way back to kinesiology degree. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
what a great degree. I made some awesome friends, but there was such a lack of representation in the faculty, and I mean
Mm-hmm.
faculty team members and students. And I think the fact that there's a lack in the faculty team members was kind of the starting point. When I walked in, it was all Caucasian people, every single professor except for maybe one. And I'm like, wow, okay, I definitely don't see myself in any of these people.
Yeah.
That's okay. I love the content. I look around at my classmates, same thing. I stick out like a sore thumb. I'm like, dang, I feel like I want to be here though. Maybe I'll just stay here and stick at, stand out. It's fine. Maybe I'll just be that unique person. On top of that, you guys already heard about my background. I was not a part of any sport team. I wasn't very active. And guess what? Everyone around me was in hockey and ringette and
Yeah.
all the nice, expensive sports that I could not afford as a middle class, low class income person.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. I stick out even more. And on top of that, I'm in a bigger body. I was going through my weight loss at the time, but still in a bigger body compared to pretty much all of my athlete student friends around me.
Mm-hmm.
So that lack of representation, it made me feel uncomfortable, but I knew that, I mean, Black people need health too, so I'm gonna continue. And
Good.
when when I went through my certifications, becoming a group fitness instructor, and I think I saw one other Black female that was teaching group fitness classes, and that is it. And what I think that causes is it doesn't promote other Black people to come to the gym or even enter the health and wellness space because they don't see anyone that looks like them. They think, okay, they're going to give me a nutrition plan with nothing that resonates with me. They're going to give me exercises I don't care to do. And so what's the point?
Yeah.
Right? Or they'll do it, feel uncomfortable, and leave. And it's actually happening. It's actually thing. If I had, told my grandparents when they were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes to go to the gym, they'd be like, where everyone would stare at me?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. So it's an uncomfortable place for us to be because of the lack of representation. And so it's kind of a hard place to be in, because we need more Black people to feel comfortable being uncomfortable and being that person that sticks out, so we can bring everybody else in and say, hey, it's okay, it's safe here, we're good. This is a new territory, but we're all good here,
Yes. Also, I feel like, these, if we're speaking of spaces like gyms, clinics, diabetes clinics, what have you, they exist without really explicitly doing any work in terms of like seeing who their patient load are, or like seeing who their main paying clients are. Like, oh yeah, like, I know tons of places that are like, yeah, we're body positive, yeah, we're trying to do anti-racism work and like doing anti-oppression work, and I'm like, what are you doing? Because there's nobody here that looks like me. You
Yeah.
might have the same color skin, but like you don't even use my right pronouns, like the
Yeah.
correct, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, like it's a wonder, like, and because I just like say those things, I'm just like have no filter. I'm like, these are the things that are like the reason why you don't have these types of people.
Yeah.
And so I think places need to be a lot more explicit and just say it outright, just be like, yeah, like if it takes having like, I don't know, would you go to a gym if it just opened and they had like a black like night or something like that? Because then it would be like, cool, maybe you'd meet some other friends at the gym or something like that. Or like, I, speaking from my own experience, I would go to like a place like a cycling gym or something that had like a queer night. I think that would be so fun. And then I'd be able to bring a couple of my friends too, who normally never go to the, to that spinning place.
Yeah. That's awesome. I like that.
So yeah, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but like, and we don't have to go into solutions, right away. I think it's really important to just sit with where we're at and also celebrate where we're at and how far we've come.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm just like trying to think of like ways in which we can do better, because a lot of the times I feel like, especially when folks work in activism, they're not heard because it sounds like they're just like nagging, right? And it sounds like it's just not the same way as like, if like a white cis man said something, then people would turn their heads and look.
Right.
Which is like so unfortunate. But that's like kind of how it is now. And I obviously want that to change. So, there's something about having spaces explicitly stated, like, and just being like, yeah, you're not only welcome here, but like come here, bring a friend, like we're having this night in celebration of you, or we're having this day, we're having this, like, I don't know, I don't even like saying that, but like Black History Month, it's like not just about that month, but like that's a start somewhere, for allyship.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And I think a lot more gyms and fitness places need to look into this. And I actually like just specify into the spin world. I entered that and it was the same thing. I stuck out like a sore thumb. No one was playing my type of music. Like, I loved the classes. And so there was actually a new place here in Winnipeg called Riot Cycle Club. Shout out to them. Love them.
Nice.
Love you, Greg. So he created Riot Cycle Club here, and it was immediately just open space. He invited in LGBTQ workers. He invited in people of color to work, and he reached out himself and created this space. Whereas other places in Winnipeg, they again can talk about Black History Month and talk about how they're an ally, but there's nobody there representing. And I think, again, it's the same thing. If I were to walk into a place and I don't feel like I fit in, I mean, for me, I I'm already like out in places where I probably shouldn't be or whatever. But for other people, it's uncomfortable and you feel out of place. And honestly, the first time I did go to a spin class, I felt really out of place because I didn't even see myself fitting in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's something that gym owners themselves should definitely look into is, are you inviting these people into your place to work? Do they even want to work there? Are you actually an ally, or are you saying that for clout? Or are you saying that because that's what's
it's like
trending
performative.
now?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That kind of leads me to another question, Shaquelle. Like I guess, who are your role models? Like, who are you looking at on social media and maybe other spaces? Like, I would love to know, and I'm sure a lot of the audience would also love to know.
Honestly, I don't have any names right off the top of my head, but I've been shifting my Instagram to specifically look for like BIPOC places within Canada as a whole. So in my region and across this, the country, across the world, and just shifting so you see more of it, and you're normalizing it for yourself.
Yes.
So I'd say that's the best way for anyone listening to, become more of an ally and understand what it means to have different cultures and different backgrounds in the health and wellness space. Let's just look for it, follow
Yeah,
it, like and share.
for sure. I literally sometimes I go on like I'm learning Gaelic Irish. And so I'll go on Instagram and just put like go on search and type in the hashtag like learn Irish or something like that and like go follow those people, right?
Yes.
So it would be appropriate, I think, to like do the same for, even on International Women's Day. I did
Mhm.
that like IWD 2021, which recently happened. And like, I got so many new followers, not for me, but I mean, I followed other folks because I was like, oh my God, this like this is great. And they're not
Yeah.
just doing like this one post one day a year. It's like full on like, several posts of celebration throughout their feed. So yeah, I think it's important. And we really have to consume, if we're talking about consuming, and then like our diet, our paradigm, I think it's really important to focus on our social media consumption and like who are we watching? Where are they? Like, where are they located? Are they attainable? Is it are they relatable?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you see yourself in them
Yeah.
on a personal level, on a physical level?
Yeah. And I wanted to get your thoughts, Shaquelle, as well on this whole kind of like, because we are talking about gyms and exercise spaces, this the intimidation factor, that I think it's so prevalent now. Like skinny bitches like me, like also don't like going to the gym because it's like everyone is like super jacked and like staring at like people's butts, like,
Yes. Oh.
but I can only imagine also on the other end of that, like, someone who's maybe 200 pounds or more, maybe who doesn't identify as cisgender, trying to like really lose weight or, trying to just get healthier and move and get connected to their body a bit more. And so this idea and this like image of, this like kind of like strong Black woman is coming to mind, right? Like the strong Black woman that runs the classes and like does the things and like has all the muscles and like, and then it's like, also, is that attainable? Is there something in between that we can like, I don't know, can we just like break down like the like strong independent Black woman for a second also and just be like, okay, like we need to talk about this also because yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have thoughts.
Absolutely.
I don't even want to put words in your mouth right now. Like you just say what you want to say.
Yes. Oh, strong, independent Black woman. Yes. That is how I've been described my entire life. And I mean, I know people mean it as a compliment, but hey, I'm still a human. And
Yeah.
that's something that needs to be remembered. I think people honestly forget that. It's almost like a way to disregard any negative emotion or negative thing that Black women go through because they're strong, they'll deal with it, they'll fight for
Yes.
themselves. But why don't we reanalyze where these negative things are coming from and just don't provide it for us Black women to have to stay strong and independent all the time.
Yes.
And, give us a space to feel comfortable and, and I feel like this can relate to the gym world and the fact that, yes, like, there'll be like the jacked Black girl that did like bikini modeling,
Yeah.
bodybuilding competition things, and another Black person walking into that may feel like, okay, well, she has this strong independent Black woman look, do I do I get stared at?
Mm.
And it almost creates almost like a competition.
Yeah, it's like the industry is trying to like pin us against one another.
Exactly. And I think that is something that is definitely not talked about enough. That is a whole situation to unpack. And I think either way, whether you're the strong, independent Black woman or the one wondering if you are it, you get stared at.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
get stared at because you have that complexion in other people's eyes. So it's like, hey, she knows what she's doing. She doesn't need a spotter. She's all good. She knows what's up.
Yeah.
And
Then it's like just fear. Then it's fear-based.
yeah, exactly. And then imagine a day where you have this strong Black woman complexion in everybody else's eyes. You walk into the gym, you're having a bad day. It's almost like you have to use your own energy to keep up this standard that people created for you, and that would automatically make the space uncomfortable again. We already don't fit in many ways, and now we have to put on an act just to help our own mental health while we're working out to satisfy the people around us.
Oh, oh God, you just hit the nail on the head there for sure. It's like I think we are socialized, and I'm saying we because I have the experience of, being identified as a woman. Um, in general, that, as a woman, when you walk into this gym space, that you're meant to be like already stronger and that you have to like put on this face of like just trucking through it. And I mean, for a lot of us, maybe that is the case, but it takes a lot more energy. It takes a lot more
Mm-hmm.
energy to just put that front on
Yeah.
without even, the energy it takes to go to the gym and like the energy it takes to
Yeah.
go eat afterwards and whatever else and get home and,
Mm-hmm.
and then like take our selfies. Like,
Exactly. The gym selfie. We need
there's so
that.
much, right? And so this,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to kind of get away from, calling out certain like people because I don't think people inherently are bad. I think it's the patterns that they've been socialized to
Yes.
perpetuate.
Absolutely. And like speaking on my own experience, so again, I've always been in a bigger body, and sometimes I would go to the gym. I'm a certified personal trainer, group fitness instructor, and I would, have a bad day. And my bad day thing is to go to the gym and put on some of my favorite music and just go on the elliptical. So I wouldn't actually, lift weights and things like that. And I literally feel stared at, not feel, I see myself getting stared at. And, now I have the confidence to stare back
Yeah.
until one of us looks away. But as a newer person in the gym, it made me uncomfortable. It's like, it again made it not seem like it's not safe for me to be here. Why are you staring?
Yeah.
I'm good. If you want to say something, say something.
Hmm. Well, it's like that like thick skin expectation that we have to grow a thick skin in order to like survive places, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's necessarily good
Yeah.
to always be having to do. It takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of time, and it traumatizes us. Micro traumas are a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it just gets passed down and we don't talk about it. And yeah, I just want things to get out in the open, in a safe way. And I think it's so important because as we kind of go forward in our anti-oppression work and, in even our connecting to our own body and our own soul work, it's going to take a lot of dismantling from within.
Yes.
And that work doesn't happen overnight. And that work also doesn't happen just through our own willpower. It happens because there are systemic changes in our systems, in our institutions. And when people feel that they can be whoever they want to be at a safer and in a safer space, maybe be more braver, then that, we can really start to unfold and unfurl and like bloom and flourish.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
I'm like so passionate about this stuff that it like makes me emotional just talking about it, because I'm like, ooh, like soul, like you're in there, like just like release the barriers, like, unbind yourself, just like get out there. And I say that with with the utmost like acknowledgement of my own privilege, that I can do that to a certain extent more than other folks can. So yeah, it's been a long and winding road for all of us. And for some of us, we just have, there's a few more turns in the road.
Oh, yeah. We got a few more turns to go, you guys. We're going somewhat in the right direction, though. We're a little better.
I have hope. I
do.
Mm-hmm.
I do too.
Shaquelle, you have an Instagram that I love. It's KinActivity, so spelled Kin and then activity.
Yes.
How else can folks get in touch with you? Is that the best way if they wanted to work with you?
Yeah, Instagram is the best way. And definitely check out my website. I started a blog. I actually talked about some of the things we talked about here. And I'll be building on that, of course. Specifically, I want to point out the reasons why you should throw out your scale right now. I wanted to touch on that earlier. So we did mention it a bit, but just measurements of your progress. It doesn't have to be the scale. It doesn't have to be that. It can be measuring how you feel about yourself in the beginning of the program and in the middle and at the end. Not just, the before and after pictures and all that fun stuff, and the scale, the evil scale.
Evil blasted scale.
Yes. So my website's at www.kinactivity.com. So the name Perfect. Right in there.
Amazing. Anything else that you have on your mind tonight, Shaquelle? This is the space to do so, and if not, you can always do it at another time as well. I think there's gonna be more collaborations coming in the future, so Absolutely. Stay tuned for that.
Oh yeah, we just like covered the surface and got a little deeper, but there's much more to go. I would like to say to everyone listening, you are perfect in the body you are in right now, and it is completely okay to accept the body you're in and what it's going through, and still work on making it healthier. You don't need to, say I hate my arms, I hate my legs in order to make a healthy lifestyle change. Make it all positive, and you'll be more likely to come back to the healthy lifestyle because it's a safe space for you. Create a healthy, safe space for you to come back to. Make health safe and accept yourself. You're beautiful.
Yes, you are beautiful.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing parts of yourself, Shaquelle. I really appreciate having you on here, hosting you. You're welcome anytime. And I said this to another guest a couple weeks ago, but like, this is not like my table and you're like invited. This is like, no, like I have a nail, you have the hammer, like someone else has a piece of wood, like we're making a new table. Like we're creating this new place that we're going to just come together and be with. And really just, create this type of space where folks can come and really feel like they have the courage to be witnessed, however they are. Come as you are.
Yes. I love that. Come as you are. Because you're beautiful as you are.
You are so beautiful. You are so beautiful. I'm thinking back to Mean Girls. I'm like aging myself here. I don't think that's a cool movie anymore, but
that's okay. I loved it. I loved it.
I want to end, if I could, by because I just finished this book by Sonia Renee Taylor, and it's so good. Again, highly recommend. The Body is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor, and this is one of the quotes that she had said in the book. Radical self-love is not the work of superheroes, but of community and connection. Move beyond self-reliance to collective care. We must learn to be with each other if we plan to get free. One of my favorite quotes. I had to write it down and I was like, this is perfect. I'm going to say this in this because we're talking about body acceptance and all of it. So, to end that, thank you again, Shaquelle, for being here. This has been splendid.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks, folks, for watching. This has been episode 27 of Inspiring Insights. If you're not aware, Reawaken Co. has just created a mindfulness space. It's a drop-in, pay what you can space every Friday nights at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So if you're curious about that, you can go take a look at my website, theerinedwards.com/the den, but you can just go to my website and then you'll find the link. Every Friday night we're doing this. You can buy a monthly membership or you can just kind of pay what you can, drop in when you can. Totally acceptable either way. This is a radical space for healing. So if you need a Friday night unwind, go ahead and go check that out. Again, Inspiring Insights, episode 27, Shaquelle Hibbert. Thank you so much again for being here. And folks, have a lovely evening.